Greetings, Soul Family, Menti the Awakener here, Menti the Oracle, and I just wanted to jump on here today and to do a quick video with you based on some of the meditations that have been coming through for me, not just today, but over the past couple of months. And as we prepare for this lunar eclipse tomorrow, this lunar eclipse in Taurus, I just wanted to I was guided to come on here and to just share some of the learnings that I have been receiving that might be a bit insightful for you. And one of the main things that's coming up is about the power of the heart. And many of us talk about ascension and expansion, but what is that really? Ascension is about being able to ascend or expand into higher levels of consciousness. And what that means is about developing a higher awareness of what it means to be human, of what it means to experience this reality, and what it means to live in this body, and what it is that we are capable of. It's an expansion in our awareness of what it means to be human, an expansion in our experience of this reality. And so, physically, in terms of our energetic system, if we look at our lower chakras as being our personal self, our personal world, the ascension speaks of us overcoming the lessons of that personal world and bringing it into balance so that we can move up into our next level of experience, which is from those higher transpersonal chakras. So we're moving out of the experience of I, right, into the experience of we, so that we can understand what it means to be human in relation to each other, not just in terms of our own human stuff. And so, in order for us to go through that ascension, to anchor our consciousness, to raise our conscious awareness beyond the individual, beyond the I, beyond the self, beyond me, my scarcity, my, sexual energy and my power. In order for us to move from that space into this next transpersonal experience of the heart, we have to consolidate all of the learnings within those lower aspects of ourselves. And those learnings are the experiences, the lessons that we have been going through since we were children, right? And those lessons, those experiences are attached to these energy centers that govern our personal energy and our personal understanding of who we are and our personal consciousness experience. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the root chakra, which is chakra 1, which is all about your connection to fear, security, safety, and those first formative years of your life, right? What are you anchored into? What allows you to feel safe and secure? Then you've got your sacral chakra, which is all about your sexual energy, your creativity, your ability to tap into flow and energy and your emotions, right? And then you've got your solar plexus, which is all about your power. And you will find that in your life experiences, especially within the first 7 to 8 years of your life, those are the times in which you are now starting to develop those energetic centers. But they also may be the times in which you start to now experience different things that are going to be the foundation that's going to allow you to now learn the lessons that you came to learn as a soul. So what do I mean by that? So in your first years, in your root chakra stage, if you came here to learn how to really be confident in your own spirit and to trust in your own power, to be the God that you are within, you will experience things such as lack. So you will experience feeling unsafe. You will experience feeling insecure. You will experience being in a family where you weren't supported. All of those things now create this perception and this personality for you to now navigate your experiences through. But ultimately, your journey will be to unpick and unpack all of that which you have learned, experienced, been conditioned into. The unpacking of that is what helps you to get back to who it is that you are, the soul essence that you are. And the unpacking of that also gives you the wisdom that you need for you to fulfill your soul mission, for you to understand what it means to be human, what it means to navigate yourself in these realms, and also for you to be able to share that wisdom, share that knowledge, and help and support others, right? So when we're talking about doing shadow work, we're talking about doing the work that's necessary for us to go back through those parts of ourselves, to peel off the layers of illusion, because all of those attributes that you've attached to yourself, how you think, how you feel, how you navigate and interact with the world, is all based on your ability to feel safe and all based on those experiences in those formative years. So really, who it is that you think you are navigating through this world is really not who you are. That personality, that personal frequency is a projection of you. It's a projection of a created part of you. All of the experiences that you've had, consciously or unconsciously, are subconsciously informing your being and your body, and also your ego. And your ego's purpose is always to try and stay safe. So in order to keep us safe, we will construct, consciously or unconsciously, a personality, a personal frequency that we project out into the world that would allow us to be safe, that allow us to get what we need, that will allow us to feel powerful. But guess what? Most of the times that personality is not who you are. That personality is not, you operating from a space of love. Ask yourself, who would you be if you had all of the love that you needed? Who would you be if all of your needs were met? Who would you be if you knew exactly who you were and what your purpose would be, and who it was you were to be to this world? Like, what would your life be like if you knew all of those things and you had everything that you need? You would be a solid, fully functioning being, right? But what would there be to learn? Ultimately, that is who you are at your core. You are perfect, whole, and complete. You are source embodied. You are the essence of God in this physical body, here to experience and to expand and to create, right? But our lesson in this time of ascension is to expand beyond the individual understanding of who it is that we are, to expand beyond the idea that things are happening to us and recognize that things are happening for us, to awaken into the understanding that we are divine spiritual beings who have consciously co-created this experience with the divine so that we can experience, learn, grow, and express, and also so that the source can experience and express through us. It is a co-creation because the source exists through its creation and experiences everything through its creations, right? So if we are spending most of our formative years constructing and creating this personality that allows us to now navigate through our experience, then why is it that we get to a certain point in our life where we start seeking, where we start thinking, I need to get more closer to who I am? Like, who am I? Right? Why is it that we get to that point? The reason why we get to that point is because the creation of the personality that we have created is no longer serving us in terms of allowing our full soul's expression to be revealed, right? When we start attaching ourselves to those experiences, when we start attaching ourselves to the identity and start identifying ourselves as, whether it's race, whether it's our sexual preference, whether it's the experiences that we've been through, when we start to identify ourselves with that, we are lowering our conscious awareness of who it is that we are. And our reality is always going to be helping us to expand our consciousness, to get a deeper understanding, to understand that we are not even that thing that we attach ourselves to. Right? Identity and even, so-called traits that we're born with. These things are all framed within the womb, right? Because the womb is the first environment in which your being is held. So if you are in the womb and your mother is going through some traumatic issues, or maybe she's going through domestic violence, subconsciously and energetically and through your genetics, your body is going to start creating different things that allow it to prepare for those threats when it comes into this earth. So let's say, for example, if there's a fear of feminine energy, a fear of being soft, then that being is going to genetically shift so that when it comes out, it may be ready to fight. It may be, more masculine, have more masculine energy, because that is what it perceived was required for it to survive in the environment that it's coming into. Right? So this is our understanding of how our being is informed by our environment and our internal environment and our experiences. And that then comes together to create this personality, this personal frequency that we put out into the world. But in order for us to move through this ascension is calling for us to move beyond the perception of ourselves being our full world and to move into higher levels of consciousness. And in order to do that, you have to master the lower self. You have to consolidate the learning within the understanding of who it is that you are as a being. And that is where the soul work comes in. That's where the shadow work comes in. The shadow work is all about helping you to go into those dark parts of yourself, those unresolved parts of yourself, the parts of yourself that were in fear, the parts of yourself that needed to be protected and pushed to the side, right? It's about bringing those parts of you out, because each one of us has them. We are both light and we are both dark. And when we understand the nature of energy, we understand that the things that we attach ourselves to, the things that hold wounds for us, usually are considered dark, mainly because of the weight of these energies and how they can affect our life moving forward. So when we talk about weighing the heart against the feather, we're talking about creating lightness in your heart. We're talking about consolidating all of the wounds, all of the things that make your heart heavy, like guilt, shame, lack, fear, all of these illusionary attributes that you have acquired whilst being in your root, whilst learning about yourself. We have to move and elevate beyond that. And so what helps us to do that? The heart tonics, things like understanding, compassion, right? Doing the self-work, pouring that love on you and understanding your experience from an observer's perspective. Because what that allows you to do is to disconnect from the personality that you've created in order to be safe, and to start tapping into who it is that you really are. Right? Giving yourself permission to live in a way that is in alignment with love and is in alignment with truth. But if you have anything that, whether it's an emotional experience of anything that is not love or is the antithesis of love, if it's hate, if it's shame, if it's guilt, if it's resentment, that can be created due to your perception of the experiences that you've had with people, then that is what weighs your heart down and stops you from being able to elevate and levitate at the consciousness of your heart. Because what we recognize with heart consciousness is that everything is connected, right? Even though someone may have done something to you, or you may have experienced something, all of that is divine. All of that was for a divine purpose. But how do you unlock the purpose within that pain? By doing the work, by going back through it, but with an observer's perspective. Rather than looking at it from the perspective of, I've been hurt, look what they've done to me, you start asking yourself, what did I learn from those situations? And start taking accountability. What did I do in that situation that contributed to the outcome? What is it that I'm learning here? And this is how we start to become conscious beings, no longer just living unconsciously as if everything is always happening to us, that we have no power, and we start moving into conscious living, being aware that we are in control to a certain extent of everything that we are experiencing. And what I mean by that is that we can control our response to it. We can control how we interact with it. We control our energy field. We control this, right? But we are all part of this one reality that is offering all of us the opportunities for us to expand in our levels of consciousness. As we lived in this world of I and individualism, we've become more and more separated from each other, more and more separated from nature, more and more separated from consciousness, from God, from understanding who it is that we are as divine beings. And so this awakening that we're going through is pushing us into recognizing that we are all connected. Think about it. When you walk around on the roads, most of the time, everybody's focused on their own thing. Everybody's in their own space. One person's pain is more potent than the other, and one person's problem has nothing to do with the other. Without recognizing that we are all connected, that we are all linked. The illnesses that we face in our bodies, the travesties that we're seeing in this world, is all because we have chosen subconsciously to ignore each other. We have chosen to see ourselves as powerless to the governments and to the systems that run this world. And we have chosen subconsciously to be in subservientness, when really we are the co-creators. And when you understand that, everything in your reality opens up to you. So why is heart consciousness so important? Why is it so important for us to do that shadow work? Because the heart must be free to lead. When we are governed and ruled by our lower instincts, we are always thinking of the I. But when we are governed by our heart, we are working in alignment with divine truth. We are working in alignment with God. We are working in alignment with love. And we can't get into that space if we are still thinking of things that people have done to us, if we're still holding on to blame and guilt and shame and rejection and all of these things that are not of love, that are of lack, and that were only there to help you experience what it feels like, even if in an illusionary sense, to be disconnected from the source, the spark within. When we need to learn to step into trust and let the heart lead, we have to be able to trust our heart. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do, because if your heart's lens is dirtied by fear, hate, anger, resentment, bitterness, it can be difficult to follow your heart down the right path. It will feel as if you can't even feel your heart. Your mind will be speaking, your ego will be guiding you. But to truly allow your heart to lead you means to have complete implicit trust in the intention and integrity of your own heart. And that can only come from deep soul healing, soul discovery, and also from a heart that has been broken. Because when your heart has been broken, when your heart has felt pain from giving love, it recognizes the value of love. It recognizes that love is not something that is about attachment, that love is not about control, that love is all about experience, that love is all about freedom, that love is all about liberation. And when you allow your heart to lead you, then you are walking in the path of love, right? And so when I was on retreat in Jamaica last week, and I was sitting down with my client, and we were really talking about love, because only once the shadow is cleared can you really expand into what love really is, unconditionally and devotionally, right? And when we started to kind of talk into this energy, I had a download. And the download was that when we look at the word Lord, light, leader, and we look at the scripture that says the Lord is my shepherd, I shifted those words and I said the heart is my shepherd. My heart is my shepherd. My heart is my guide. It leadeth me down the path of righteousness. It is my heart's compass. It leads me down the path of what's right. And it's not marred or conflicted by my wounds, right? Because our wounds can cloud what is right. Our wounds can cloud what is right. Our heart will be telling us what is right, and we deny it because our fear, our anger, our ego is so much stronger than the whisperings of our heart, because love isn't loud. It's consistent, but it's not loud. It's felt, but it's not loud, right? So in order for our heart to really be free, to be led by our heart, we can't be led by our ego. We can't be led by our fears. We can't be led by our lack. We cannot be led by our limitations. We cannot be led by our desire to be seen. We can only be led by love. Love, and it leads you down the path of righteousness, because your heart is your conscience and your compass. Your conscience and your compass. So it leads you down the path of righteousness for his name's sake. You understand what I mean? It leads you down the path of righteousness. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that is the shadow of your own illusions, your fears of lack. Your heart is going to lead you through all fears. It's going to lead you through all illusions. It's going to tap into what's real. But if your mind is conflicted with illusions, if you are internally holding on to things that are not real, feelings that are not real, holding people hostage in your heart, then your heart is not free to lead you down the path of righteousness. You won't even trust your heart when it tells you, when it guides you on what to do, which is what's happening. A lot of people aren't trusting their heart because they're not connected to their heart. So they're looking to readers and people outside of themselves to guide them. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with seeking guidance, but the guidance should lead you back to yourself. It should empower you. It shouldn't leave you in a space of hoping and wishing and waiting. And that's what's happening for a lot of people. You cannot bypass the shadow work, because that is what brings you to liberation. It's literally the pulling off of all of these layers of illusion that you've attached to yourself, and offers you the opportunity to learn through the experiences, because that's what you came here to do, to learn through those experiences. And as you learn through those experiences, you elevate in consciousness. You recognize that everything was always happening to you and for you, right? For you. You realize that you are not a helpless being that's just here going through all of this crap. You realize that even in all of your experiences is the gold that you seek, the nuggets of wisdom that are going to help you to step into your purpose. But your heart must be free to lead you down the path of righteousness. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Because you're in my heart beating. You are in my chest beating. I feel. I'm tapped into the consciousness. I'm tapped into what is good and what is right and what is true. I don't mean good as in good or bad. I mean what is right with my soul. I allow my heart to lead me. So I fear no evil. My heart is the light that guides me through the darkness that is my own darkness. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That is my morals and my values and my morality. Because my heart knows the morality. It knows what's right and what's wrong. I mean, it becomes conflicted, because if I feel like someone has done me something, then what I do in return, I may not feel like is wrong, right? But then when I think about the measure of the effect that that's going to have on my spirit, and the measure of the effect that that revenge and retaliation is going to have on my heart, do I want that weight on me? No, I don't. I want my heart to be light. I want my heart to be liberated, so that I can feel God, so that I can trust what I feel, so that I can be, I can be fed by love and led by love and feel love. So in order for that to happen, I've got to release anything that blocks my perception of love and my experience of love, right? So my morality, my rod and my staff is my values. It's my morals. It's the things that I live by that allow me to live in accordance with love, and in accordance with love with everybody that I meet. Yeah? He lays a table out before me in the presence of my enemies, and he anoints my head with oil. The enemies that you see sometimes laid out before you are you. They're the enemies within yourself. And one of the powerful things that happened on this retreat is the client that I was working with, I was getting her to call out her demons, call out her own inner enemies, right? See them before you. See the wounds in your heart. See the thieves of your joy. Those enemies are you. They're within you. They're all of the lack and the limitation, but the Most High places them in front of you and anoints your head with oil, reminding you that you are the divinity, that you are divine. The oil inside of your crown chakra, the Christium oil, is that sacred elixir of light, right? It opens the heavens within you. So in that anointing, you are reminded that you are blessed, that you are sacred, that you are a divine vessel of the source, and that no enemies around you or no enemies within you can take away that divine blessing when your heart and your mind and your womb and your being is connected to the source and etched and embedded in truth, right? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff that cover me. Prepare a table for me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anoint my head with oil. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Goodness and mercy are tonics of the heart. It's what allows us to exist in our life without holding on to stuff, without holding on to people, places, things, without holding on to blame and situation. It allows us to be in a space of perpetual forgiveness. Why? Because that perpetual forgiveness allows our heart to be light. And when we talk about heart liberation, we're talking about giving the heart wings so it can fly. This is where the heart and the feather become one, because they are merged together in truth. You are living in the way of ma'at, my heart. So that is why all of the spiritual teachings bring you back to the heart, the threefold flame in your heart, the God spark in your heart. That is the truth. And that is the part of us that must be free to guide us. So in this place of ascension and expansion, we are being encouraged to do the work, to consolidate the learning, get the support that you need to navigate yourself through the valley of the shadow of death. because you are releasing the illusion. All that no longer serves you is what you are releasing. All that no longer serves you is what is dead. The perception that you have of yourself is dead. It's no longer serving you. And as we facilitate this collective ascension, it is because we are opening up to understanding more of what it is and who it is that we are and the power that we have. What we're seeing happening in the governmental systems and organizations is the crumbling of these illusionary orders and establishments that have controlled people, as we move into and expand into creating governments and organizations that are based on liberation, that are based on collective empowerment, that are based on encouraging people to be in their power, to be self-sovereign, to be self-sufficient, and also to work together as community. We are moving into awakening these higher level gifts of telepathy and and really feeling each other's energies, right? But if we are still holding shadows, if we are still lying to ourselves, then what would it be like when we now open up ourselves and we can feel everything that each other feels? We can know when each other is lying. We can know when each other is, not coming from a space of love and truth, because this is where we're moving to. The more and more that we clear, the more that we consolidate some of our learning, the more that we consolidate some of those experiences, we enter into love. We start vibrating at a higher frequency, and that allows us now to start feeling and connecting with everyone. How would you feel? Are you ready to be in a space where everybody can feel every thought that you have and every feeling in your heart, where you cannot lie? Are you ready to live from that space? Are you ready to live from your heart? Are you ready to really allow your heart to lead? Regardless of what the world says, regardless of what everyone else says, regardless of even what your job says or your children says, can you follow your heart? Can you let your heart lead you and be the compass? That is what is required of us. That is true 5D heart consciousness. It's the ability to feel, the ability to know you're connected, the ability to hear the voice of God within you, to feel it, no longer in the mind, but in your heart, to be enlivened with the essence, to have the confidence to live your life fully expressed as you, authentically expressed as you. Are you ready to do that? Can you do what's right? Can you have compassion and mercy? First, I encourage you to have this with yourself. Have the compassion and mercy with yourself, to love up on yourself, to honor yourself regardless of your experiences, and to recognize that there is so much more to you than you have experienced. To recognize that you are here to navigate your way through everything that you've been through, and that it's not an attachment. This is not who you are. It's just the experiences that are going to help you to come into being and presence and awareness of the divine in you. So I want to encourage you all, do the work, let go, release, surrender, rise. Allow yourself to be liberated through truth. Give your pain a voice, give your joy a voice, give your power a voice. And if you could choose to live purely from your heart, what world would you create? What life would you create? What job would you do? How would you live? Who would you be? How would you love? These are the things that you need to be asking. Because from that place is where we're going to co-create this new reality and realm that we are all part of, co-creating. So I choose this day to create from a place of love. I surrender all lack, I surrender all wounds, and I allow myself to know that love is all there is. I trust myself. I trust in the God within me to lead me upon the path of love, through the valley of the shadow of death, where there is only the illusions that bring fear. I trust in the light of God within me, and I allow myself to be open and honest with me. I call upon the cool, nourishing, rich, milky waters of the cosmos to bathe into me, and I soothe my heart's wounds with the gift of compassion and love. I soothe the fiery wounds of fear, the fiery wounds of rejection and disappointment and hurt and scarcity with the cooling elixir of compassion and love and forgiveness and empathy, richness. I forgive myself for not knowing. I forgive myself for holding on to hurt. But in this moment, I recognize the power in allowing my heart to be free. And so I see my heart with wings, wings that expand, wings that move with the ebbs and the flow of life. And I allow myself to receive all the goodness that is for me. I allow love to lead me down the valley of the shadow of death where the work needs to be done, knowing that I fear nothing because thou art with me. As you take a deep breath in, just giving thanks for this message and that this message has found you today. I'm giving thanks for the ability to share this message today and just leaving one sentiment with you. True liberation comes from the release of all false limitations, attachments, and ideals and identities of who you think you are and how you think this world is meant to be. Allow your heart to be free. Let go of all that no longer serves you in love. Make love to all of the experiences and situations that have blessed you with learnings and opportunities in the past, and open up your heart to be a blessing and to receive a blessing. And let love be the elixir through which you bless and bathe the life of those around you, and the cup, and let it be the cup from which you drink and are nourished. Sending you so much love of the highest vibration today. Mwah! Let your heart lead. Let your heart be free. Living in my art means living in truth. I give thanks. Amen. Ashe.